Hey everyone, welcome to Zack Attack Reviews. Thank you for joining me for my review of Avatar Way of the Water, directed by James Cameron, starring Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana. Is it worth the 13-year wait? Is it better than the first Avatar? Has Jimmy Cameron gotten better with writing these characters? Before I get into the good and the bad, let's start with the premise. Jake Sully and Neytiri have formed a family and are doing everything to stay together. However, they must leave their home and explore regions of the Pandora that they've never seen before. When an ancient threat resurfaces, Jake must fight a difficult war against the humans. Avatar Way of the Water is rated PG-13 for sequences of strong violence, intense action, partial nudity, and some strong language. Okay, so let's start off with the good. So first and foremost, I have to say that I saw this movie in IMAX 3D, which was the recommended way to see the movie, and I think it's the only way someone should watch this movie in the theaters. Any other way may be a waste. The visuals are spectacular. The way Avatar 2009 kind of set the bar for how things look in a sci-fi film, and especially with 3D, and that movie is the highest grossing movie in the world. It wasn't for the story, maybe not even for the characters, but that visual thrill ride, that theme park of going through that beautiful Pandora in IMAX 3D. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it when it came out initially. I had to watch that at home recently, and I still enjoyed the movie, but I couldn't imagine how amazing it would have looked if I saw it back then in IMAX. But I got to see this one, and I was blown away by not only in the environmental storytelling, but also the way that the Navis look in this movie compared to how they look kind of video gamey sometimes. And the first one is a complete game changer. This is some of the best CGI character constructs I've ever seen. They look almost like, for 90% of the movie, they look real. The textures on their skin, the way water and light splashes on them, the way their hair moves, and how they interact with humans. They feel and look like they're really there when you're watching it. And it's crazy how he was able to achieve this, and it makes sense why he waited so long until he developed the technology to get this right. And on top of the movie just looking beautiful and gorgeous and a wonder, this is called Way of the Water, and part of this journey that Jake Sully and his family takes, they go to a water tribe, and a lot of it is them learning how to swim and hold their breath. And while they're doing that, James Cameron takes the time, like he did in the first one with the forest, to go underwater, experience the wonders of the water with a different kind of fish and how they swim, and appreciate the land. And while he's doing that, it just looks like some of the best water effects I've ever seen in a movie. And just that alone, those sections are worth the price of the ticket. All these things create a true theatrical experience, a movie that you need to see in the theaters, because it won't be as appreciated at home when you're watching it, because you don't have the equipment to watch it. You have to see it in the theater. You know, obviously some people have 3D TVs, but most people don't, and people don't have IMAX level TVs at home. So I think those alone is a strong reason why this movie is such a spectacle to watch. Another thing that's great is that one of the major issues I had with the first Avatar, even though I saw it just recently, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, is that I don't think that the characters were super memorable or the performances was that great outside of like Zoe Saldana, who was fantastic in the first movie. But that problem is fixed here with stronger performances from Sam Worthington, who has more direction and gives more effort. I want to say he gives more effort. He probably gave effort back then, but he just seems more seasoned. He's just a lot better and understands how to be this character. And Zoe Saldana comes back in Neytiri. She takes a bit of a step back in this movie in terms of plot and screen time, but every time she's on screen, she's amazing. And because of that, these characters, all the new characters and the old characters, and how they're better written and they feel more like real people, it is one of the biggest strengths, other than the visuals, of this movie. There's more likable, memorable characters that you care for and get emotionally attached. I felt like in the first movie, I wasn't emotionally attached to most of the characters. So when they got wiped away, I was like, okay, that little blue thing got killed, but I'm not connected to it. But they did things here with the characters' movement, their playfulness, how they acted, how you see them in the background. It made everything feel a lot more alive. Jake Sully now has a purpose. He's a father. He's trying to take care of his kids, his family, and the tribe that he's been bestowed upon to be their leader. And all those aspects makes him a tiny bit more interesting than he was in the first movie. But I gotta say that the show stealers here are the kids. Sigourney Weaver returns here as the adopted child of Jake Sully and Neytiri, called Kiri, and she's kind of like this hybrid Navi human that seems like might have mystical powers, and is not fully explained what's going on there. But she might be. They don't know who her father is. They don't know how she was conceived, but she is. She's there. She's there, and she has a connection to the spirits in a different way than the native Navi have. Jamie Flatters plays Netanyahu. He's the oldest son. He's the one that is ready to fight, ready for war, but also follows all the rules. He believes in the community and doing everything that his father and his mother says by the book to keep everyone safe. His character arc wasn't that strong in this movie, but he was a needed piece in the movie for the rest of the family. That person that was protecting his younger siblings, and kind of the example of where the father was pointing the younger ones to. So I appreciated his character, and he was pivotal in the third act for like a lot of emotional beats. Britton Dalton plays Loa. I don't know if I'm saying that name correctly, but he's the youngest son, and he is the most standout out of all the kids because he gets the most screen time. He's hard-headed. He doesn't listen. He's quite like his father was when he first showed up in the first movie, and he really, really looks like his father a lot. He wants to be a warrior. He wants to get into everything. He defies rules all the time because he thinks he's doing what's right, and multiple times in the movie he causes issues, but he's very nice, and you can see that everything is coming from a good place. He's not being mischievous just to be mischievous. He's doing things because he thinks he's doing the right thing, even though it might be wrong. And I know that this character may annoy some people in the story, but I understand that it's not coming from he's just this snobby, angsty teen. He's actually thinking he's doing the right thing. So I didn't mind it as much, but he was definitely a standout. I think the performance from Britton Dalton was really, really well, and made me like this character a lot. And last but not least, Trinity Jo Lee. A lot of these actors I've never heard of, and I'm glad that they're getting a diverse cast for the kids, and they're getting opportunities. But she plays the youngest kid out of the four, and she's a daughter, and she's so adorable. Oh my God.
He's so fluffy, I'm gonna die.
Every time she was in danger, I was like, please, you do, James Cameron, I will fight you. I will find you if you hurt. She was so cute. She was so adorable. She was so down for the family. She always wanted to protect everyone, and she was so curious and so nice and just playful. And she was part of that thing of making the world feel alive because of how jumpy and playful she was. It wasn't like she was just standing in the background. A lot of times you'll see her doing stuff, and she got one of the biggest laughs out of the theater when I was watching this movie. She's not really comic relief, but she's just so cute and adorable. The things that she does make you smile and laugh. And one of the big highlights for the first Avatar in 2009, it was that third act action sequences. I thought that was some of the best third act action sequences I've seen in a sci-fi blockbuster lately. Most sci-fi blockbusters lately are slow burn, slow moving, trying to deal with some deeper things going on and political drama. And with Avatar, this is all spectacle. Everything's spectacle. The story here is not in the forefront. It's the wondrous look at the Pandora, a different side of Pandora, the water people, these whales that come through that are just amazing. I don't want to spoil that part for you if you're going to go see the movie, but the action sequences are put together really, really well and are really, really fun. Really, really tense, and especially in that third act, I tensed up, worried about what is going to happen to everybody that's in this fight as they come head to head with whatever the danger is. I don't want to spoil that either. This is a non-spoiler review, but James Cameron knows, the people that behind the camera knows how to put a action sequence together. They know how to make these Navis look amazing in nighttime, daytime, and to make the action sequences look great and feel great, and are enhanced when you're watching it in 3D because arrows are coming and you're like, whoa, they're coming at you, and the bullets and everything. So It just feels like you're immersed and you're in the fight with the characters as well. Now let's get into the bad. So yes, I just talked about how much I love the characters and the graphics and the action. But what about the story? A big issue with the first movie is people felt like it was just a basic white savior story, Fern Gully, Pocahontas, Dancing with Wolves. You can name it. There's tons of movies that are similar. When I watched the movie for the first time a couple weeks ago, I was like, yeah, this is a similar story in a sci-fi world and everything. But when it's executed well, I don't see anything wrong. A lot of movies borrow from other movies. The only issue that I have, and this is why this is in the bad section with this movie, is that the story is serviceable. It did a good job. It got me emotionally invested in certain aspects. I almost cried a couple times at certain scenes. But this movie story borrows too much from the first movie. It's almost beat for beat the same story. And it's just really weird that he didn't put enough wrinkles in the actual story. The characters are very different, and I think that's what sets it apart from the first one, is that there's different character motivations for each character, but a lot of the times the story is just kind of floundering around to show you the world, because he put the spectacle and the wonder and show you how great everything looks over the actual plot and the progression of the story, which is funny because I feel like this movie is paced way better than the first movie was. And the first movie was 19 or 18 minutes shorter. And I think I didn't feel the 3 hour and 10-minute runtime of this film. By the time it got to that point, I was like, oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't that bad. I was like, it felt like it was a 2 hour and 20-minute movie. And that was for me because I was so engrossed in everything and immersed watching it in IMAX. But the story is very, very thin. It like I said, it's very serviceable. But it's so similar to the other one, down to the what they do with the villains and the way they have to train with the water tribe, and like even the aspect of you trying to assimilate with the Navis. And it was just a really, really similar. And hopefully, we're getting a third and a fourth. I think they already filmed. Hopefully, he can step up with the story in this. He already leveled up the characters. Now the next step is leveled up the story, because this was just too similar to the first one. This next thing that I'm going to say is bad. Might not be bad for anybody. A lot of people might not even notice it watching the movie, but the way the tribal people are portrayed in the film, it feels very archaic. It feels very one note. It feels like he's treating them as these incapable people who don't even know how to do their own culture as good as they should be, and they're the ones that live with it. These half breeds and the white saviors are coming and doing it better than them. I just felt like that story is, it should have been evolved, and it was done in the first one, but it was a little bit better because Natiri was still in the forefront, and it didn't feel like Jake Sully was completely taking control of the tribe. In this one, he does. And then Natiri gets less screen time, less motivations. She kind of just follows Jake Sully around. And anytime she speaks and puts up like a fight against something, he doesn't shush her, but it feels like he's shushing her. And it just made it really a lot more noticeable. It felt like they were setting her up to be the leader, and Jake Sully kind of being her support, and it was the other way around. And it just really hurt that aspect of the movie when it came to the Navis and how cool they are. It just makes them feel like they're just stupid and incapable, even though throughout the history, they've warred amongst each other, so they should know how to do something, how to defend themselves. So that bothered me, and kind of how like they're taking off from all these tribal people's real life aspects, from their chants, their garb and everything, but they also don't have those kind of people portraying them behind the scenes. I know they're all blue people, but just giving those people those opportunities, maybe they would fix some of the stereotypes if they did that. So I think that was something that bothered me after I watched the movie and I came down off my high, and that's just something I wanted to point out. So let's get into my verdict. So I break down my verdict into 3 things. Who is this for? Should you go check it out? And how do I feel about the movie overall? Let's start about who is this for. If you loved or even liked the first Avatar, go watch this movie. To me, it's better in every way, even though it has some similar problems. I didn't mention this in the good, but the dialogue is so much better. That was such a major issue. The dialogue was so archaic and bad in the 2009 version in certain parts. And there's certain issues with the dialogue here and there, but here in the movie, but for the most part, it's way superior from the first one. But visually, action wise, character wise, it's just a superior movie to me. Obviously, like I said, if you like the story or even love the story from the first one, you're gonna like this one because it's almost the same exact story, but just with better characters and better visuals. If you're someone that didn't like the first Avatar or kind of meh on it, this movie's not gonna change your mind. So unless you're gonna go see this in IMAX 3D to be blown away by the visuals, this movie's probably not gonna be for you. I know some people said it was boring to them because the plot just doesn't work for them. And if that's how, if that first plot didn't work for you, this plot's not going to work for you. Now, should you check this out? I think that, and when I say this, though, should you check this out in the theaters or wait for it to stream? If based on my reviews, based on all the good stuff, you should already know this is something you need to see it in the theater. This is a must see in theaters because of you see it in the biggest screen possible, either in IMAX 3D or Dolby 3D, so you can have the best sound, be very immersed. Because if you're not immersed in the story, immersed in the visuals and everything, then the movie might not. It's not gonna have the same magic when you're watching it at home or streaming it on your TV on when it eventually gets to Disney Plus. It's just not. Like, even though I liked the first movie when I watched it a couple weeks ago on Disney Plus, I know if I would have saw it in the theaters in IMAX in 3D, I would have been blown away way more than I was than just watching it at home. And I was really blown away watching this movie in the IMAX. So definitely go check it out in theaters if you're going to check it out at all to get the full experience. And how I feel overall, I just think that the movie was really enjoyable. I like these Avatar movies a lot. They're simple blockbusters that are good to look at. You turn your brain off, and some great action, and now has some really good characters that I am emotionally invested in and really made me care. I think that hopefully in the coming sequels there are some better, more diverse storytelling, something that connects all the plot points that we were getting here in a more clean way. And this is something I'm gonna rewatch over, and I think that it was really great. And I'm gonna give it a B plus. Did you like it? Did you hate it? What would you rate Avatar: Way of the Water? Did you think it was better than the first one, or do you prefer the first one, or do you hate both of them? Let me know in the comments down below all your thoughts. And if you didn't see the movie yet, hit that like button and let me know if you like my review and it pushed you towards it or pushed you away from it. Comment those thoughts down below as well. Subscribe to the channel because it really helps the channel grow and join the community. And hit that notification bell so you can be notified of my upcoming reviews, reactions, and ranking lists. It's the end of the year. I have my top 10 movies coming soon. I just have like maybe 2 or 3 movies to see before I make that list. And I'm going to be doing other things as well. My most anticipated movies for 2023. So if you want to see those things, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you actually can watch more of my content right now.